In this video, I'm going to cover typography using CSS and HTML. I'm going to show you how to use Dreamweaver, CSS, and HTML to create a beautiful typographic layout like this. This is what it looks like in the browser. So let's get started. This is my demo file, but I'm going to create a new one and show you how to make this from scratch. So I'm creating a new HTML file. I'll give it a title, and then I will save it in my site files folder, and you will name yours in the same way but with your first name here. I'm also going to add a CSS file just for this assignment. I'll create a new CSS file. I'll hit browse, and in my site files folder I'm going to save this file as type.css, just like in the previous assignment I had layout.css. I'll leave this option as link, click OK. Now my CSS file has been created and linked to my HTML file. I'll start by inserting a section which will hold all of the text. So in my page body, I'll go Insert, Section. Now I'm in live view right now, but just for now I'm going to switch to design view. I'm going to remove this text, and then I'm going to bring in all the text that I have on my final page. So now I have brought in all the text and laid it out as simple paragraphs. I'll now go ahead and structure the text first. What do I mean by structure? I'm going to take the heading, go into the Properties Inspector, and change its format from paragraph to heading 1. I will also take the name of the book that they're talking about here, and I will assign it a dummy link. When you put just a £sign in the link field and hit enter, that text gets linked, but that link doesn't go anywhere. The link that says just the £sign is effectively a dummy link, so it'll behave like a link. In other words, people can click on it and it'll act like a link, but it doesn't go anywhere else. It just stays in the same place. I'm also going to take this quote and change it to italics. All of this can be done in the Properties Inspector. So this is the structure that I have for my text. I'm going to go ahead and save all. And I'm going to open this file in my web browser to show you what it looks like before I apply any styles. So this is what my text looks like right now, and once I'm done styling it, this is what it will look like. This is the demo page that I've already created. So step by step, we are now going to convert this layout to match this one. Let's start with the basics. I'm going to take my whole section and add a selector for it. Now in this case, Dreamweaver is not giving me the right selector, but for a section, which is a built-in HTML tag, to be able to select it, all I need to write is section. This selector will apply whatever styles I apply to it to the whole section. I'm going to start with the width, 800px, left margin auto, right margin auto. Go up to Chrome and refresh. So that was my first step. I've set my section width to 800 pixels, and I've set its alignment so it will always be centered on the page. So I'll go to my demo page and look at the colors that I've applied to the body. Now when you want to look up any styles that are applied to any selector, a quick way to do that in the CSS Designer is to click Show Set. What this means is show me all the properties that I have set for this particular selector. At this point, I'm only going to look at the color. I'll come back to the fonts in a bit after I show you what web fonts are and how to use them. So I'm just going to pick up this color. I'm going to apply this to the whole page body. So first I need a selector for body. I'm going to click inside the body tag here, then go up to CSS Designer, Selectors, and click plus. That adds a selector for body. I'm going to turn off Show Set so I can see all the possible properties I can add. Go up to Typography, Color, double-click, and I'm just going to paste the value that I copied from my finished file. So this is the dark gray color that I'm using here. I'll save all, and I'll show you the power of just changing the background, the text color. By default, the color on your page is black. By shifting the black color to dark gray, notice how much difference it makes on the readability. I'm going to refresh the file so you can see the dark gray color. So it's a subtle change, but on a long page with a lot of text, the dark gray is much softer and gentler on the reader's eyes than the black is, especially with a white background. Next, I will show you how to change all these fonts by looking at web fonts. A web font is a font that is not installed on the user's computer or on your computer, but it actually lives completely on the web. A very good source of web fonts is Google Fonts. So if you go to google.com/fonts, this is a library of free web fonts where you can find the fonts that you like, and instead of downloading the fonts, the difference with web fonts is that you download or copy CSS code and then apply it to your project in Dreamweaver. Then what happens with web fonts is the CSS is going to look up where that font lives on the web and whether the people who visit your site have that font installed on their computer or not. Their web browser is going to find the font on the web, apply it in the web browser so that everybody will see your text exactly the way you intended to, whether they have that font installed or not. That is the power of web fonts. Your site, your text will look the same across computers, across devices, even if people don't have the same fonts installed. For this site, I'm using 3 web fonts. I'm going to go to Google Fonts and show you how to get them. So I'm scrolling down. You can see all these fonts are completely free and they can be installed as web fonts. One of the fonts I'm using, the one for my heading, is Playfair Display. So when I find a font that I like and I want to use it, I'm going to go up here and click plus, which adds that font to my selection. It says one family selected. Family refers to font family because within that you can have regular, bold, italic, and so on. So it's a whole family of fonts. For my byline and also for my quote and link, I used PT Serif. So I'm going to add that to my selection. And the third font that I use for the body is Oxygen. So I'm going to add this one. Now I have 3 families selected and I don't want any more. I'm done with selecting the families, so I'm going to go click on this window. Google Fonts is telling me that with these 3 fonts loaded into my website, the page load time is moderate. What does this mean? The more web fonts you add, the longer it may take for the page to load on your site visitor's computer or phone. So we always want to find a balance between the beauty and the look and feel of our site and its performance. If you load your site up with too many web fonts, it's going to get slow for your visitors to load, and then they get put off. So of course we want our sites to be beautiful, but we also want them to load fast. The good thing is you can go in here and customize. You can even customize which font weights or styles you want to include. So here for my body text, I'm going to use the light weight of oxygen, and I'm also going to use the bold for any points that I want to emphasize. For PT serif, which is used in the byline, in the quote, and in the links, I'm just leaving it as regular. And for my heading also, Playfair Display is regular. To get the code for all these font weights that I want to use in my site, I come up here and click on Preview and Share. Now Google Fonts shows me all the weights and fonts that I have chosen to include in my site, and up here it gives me the CSS and HTML code for using these fonts. Step 1. Embed the fonts. How do you embed the fonts? You simply copy this whole line and then go into where you're creating your page. In our case it's Dreamweaver. Go up to your HTML code, and inside the head section, anywhere in the head section, you need to add that line. I'm going to add it right after my CSS link. I'm going to hit enter, and then I will just paste. This line tells the web browser to look up these particular fonts. Now this is just embedding the fonts. The fonts will only show up when I actually use them by applying them to certain CSS selectors in my page. So for example, my heading or my H1 is going to get this property. So here's what I'm going to do. Since I'm using the CSS designer in Dreamweaver, I'm just going to copy the value. I'm going to select everything from the opening quote of Playfair Display all the way to the ending semicolon. I'm going to copy this, go back to Dreamweaver. Now, once you add web fonts, you have more than one source of CSS styles on your page. So that's why you have this thing called all sources now. Since I just want to go and find my H1 style that I want to add to my CSS file, I'm going to click type.css. Now so far I do not have a selector for H1, but that's easy to fix. I will go into my H1 tag here in my code, then go up to selectors, click plus. Dreamweaver says body section H1. I'm going to remove body and section and just leave H1 as my selector. I go up to properties, text, font family. I'm going to double click here, and then I'm going to paste what I copied from Google Fonts and hit enter. So watch what happens. Dreamweaver has now changed my font here. For web fonts, to be able to see them very accurately, you need to go into live view. So I'm going to switch to live view. Now notice it looks different here. This is because a heading by default has the bold style applied to it. I want to tell Dreamweaver and my CSS file that I want to see my heading in Playfair Display at regular weight, and that's going to look different. So still with my H1 selector chosen, I come up to properties, text, font weight, and choose normal. Now you can see this is what my heading should look like. So in live view you can get the preview of how the web fonts will actually look like. Design view does not always give you the true picture, but live view will, because in live view Dreamweaver is actually running a web browser in this window. I'm going to go hit save all, go to my browser where this page is loaded, I'm going to refresh it so you can see how the heading changes. So my heading now has the Playfair display font applied. I'm going to look up some other styles from my finished page, such as the font size and also the line height, which is the spacing between the lines of text. So in my demo page that I have here, my heading is much bigger. So I'm going to go over to my H1, click on Show Set just to look at what properties I had applied. So I've already applied my font family and font weight in my work file. Font size. I've set my font size to 300%. 300% means 3 times the normal font size. And I've set my line height to 120%. Okay, so I'm going to go here and do the same. I go to H1. I'm going to turn off Show Set so I can see all the properties. Go to Typography, Font Size, 300%. Line height, 120%. This makes my heading look bigger, and it also adjusts the line height to what I wanted. Now there are some other styles that I had applied to my heading in the demo page. I'm going to go look them up. My H1 in my demo page also has margin of 0 pixels all around. So I need to do that over here. Otherwise, you see, there's a big margin all around my heading. So for H1, I'm going to turn off Show Set, go to the Layout Properties. Under Margin, I'm going to click the chain link, double click here and type 0px, hit Enter. So that reduced the margin all around my H1. I'll save all, go over to my page and refresh. Also in my demo page, I had gone to the page body itself and changed my base font size. That means I had increased the font size for my whole page body and applied some other settings, which I'm going to go look up now. So I go to Page Body, show my set properties. Now my page body gets the Oxygen font at the lightweight, and it gets a font size of 21 pixels. So my base font size for the whole page body will be set to 21 pixels. By default, it's much smaller. So you can see my heading is smaller here than it was here. So I come back here to my work file, click on Body. I'll go up to Text and set my font family to Oxygen. Before I do this, I'm going to go back to Google Fonts. And just to be sure I get everything right, I'm going to copy this value of the font family for Oxygen. Come back to Dreamweaver. I'm on the body tag. This is where I want to apply the Oxygen font. I'm going to paste it, hit Enter. My font weight was 300. My font size was 21 pixels. So you can see that's much bigger than the default. I'm going to save all, go back to my page in Chrome, and reload. So now, this is getting closer. This big font size makes it easier for my site visitors to read. Also, these days, font sizes on blogs, the modern looking blogs, such as medium.com and others, are generally big. This is because people are doing a lot of reading on their tablets and on their phones. So the default font sizes are big, and also people's monitors are getting bigger by default, so a larger font size such as 21 pixels is pretty normal. It's pretty well accepted, and it makes reading easier for your readers, your site visitors. So notice what happened. As I set my body font to Oxygen, both the byline and every single paragraph, including the links, the italics, and everything, got changed to Oxygen, but my heading did not. This is because for the heading, I already specified Playfair Display as my font of choice. So that selection, that property, overrides what I've applied to the whole body. I'm going to proceed to my byline. So this byline is basically declaring who's the author of this article. This is an article that I read a while ago and I really liked it, and so I copied the text from it for this exercise. And I also happen to know the author. So I'm going to style the byline now. So this paragraph that has the byline, I'm going to assign a special class to this paragraph, and here's how you do it. You go into your code view, go inside the P tag right after the letter P, and then you can just press space and say class equals double quotes byline. Okay, so this applies the class of byline to this paragraph. Now I can add a selector for it. So with my cursor in this paragraph of class byline, come up to the CSS designer, click plus, and Dreamweaver adds a selector that says dot byline, which refers to the class. I hit enter to complete the selector, and now I'm going to change the font and other properties of this particular paragraph. One thing I want to do is right align it so that my byline appears on the right, and I also want to change the font to PT Serif. So I'm going to copy the value for PT Serif, come up to byline in Dreamweaver, text properties, font family, paste, and hit enter. So that changed the appearance of the byline to a different font. I'm also changing the text align property to right so that it's going to be right aligned. And I also had my byline in a different color. So I'm going to go to my finished page and look up that color. I'm going to copy this color, go over to my work page, byline, text properties, double click on the color and paste. You can just take my value from the video and type it in. So now my byline is in this nice warm gray color that I chose. Let me save this, go back to Chrome, back to my page, and refresh. So step by step, we're getting closer to the final look. Now, one thing you notice in my finished page, my paragraphs are pretty narrow. So I'm going to do that next so that all my paragraphs are fitting within this space. What this does for your readers is having the narrow lines makes it easier to read your text. Let's take this as an example. See how long it takes you to read a few lines of text with this layout. Go ahead, I'll pause a moment while you read on your screen. Okay, now I'm going to come over to the finished page which has narrower text. Now try reading. And you'll notice it's much faster to read when the paragraph is narrower. So by doing this, you're actually helping your readers to read all the content on your website easily and quickly. To make my paragraphs narrower, here's what I did. I added a selector just for paragraph, so I'm going to do that now. I'm not even going to click in a paragraph here. I know what a paragraph tag looks like, so I'll just go up to selectors, click plus, and then I'm going to type P. P stands for paragraph. So this selector will select all the paragraphs on my page, and whatever properties I apply to this will be applied to all the paragraphs. So how did I make the paragraphs narrower? I used the padding property on the left and on the right. By increasing my padding on the left and right, I managed to make my paragraph width shrink. So all my paragraphs have a left padding of 80 pixels or 80 px and a right padding of 80 px. I'm going to save this as it is and just show you the difference that this makes to your readability. Back in Chrome, I'm going to reload the page, and you can see how this not only makes the page look more expansive and luxurious by having more white space, but it's practical. It makes reading easier and quicker. Now one thing you'll notice here is my line height is more expanded in the final page, so that's what I'm going to do next. In the finished page, I had a line height of 160% applied to all my paragraphs. By applying it to paragraphs, I make sure that whatever I do here does not affect my headings. So I'm going to apply this line height to my paragraph in my work file. So in this file, I click on P for paragraph, go up to the text properties, line height, double click and type 160%. So this has spaced out my lines much more. One more thing, I even expanded my paragraph spacing a bit. Let me go to live view so you can see the finished look. I have expanded the paragraph spacing a bit in my finished page. I actually have a top padding of 10 pixels applied to every paragraph, which increases the paragraph spacing. So back in this page, I'm still on the P tag. I'm going to go up to top padding and change it to 10 px. Now that has expanded my paragraph spacing. Now, I'm going to go ahead and style my links. By default, your links will appear blue with an underline, and then of course the same font as the containing element. In this case, the same font as my paragraphs. If I want to style a link, I'm going to go to the A tag, because the A tag or anchor tag is what defines the link, and I'm going to style that tag. So I click plus next to selector. Dreamweaver gives me a selector that says section, paragraph, and then A. That means all the links inside the paragraphs inside my section. In this case, I have a very simple example and I only have one link, so I could even delete section P and just leave A. But sometimes you want to leave the whole selector because links in different parts of your web page might have different styles applied to them. So all the links inside paragraphs may have a certain style, but the links inside your footer may have a different style. The navigation links in your header may have a different style. Just for the sake of this example, I'm going to simplify my selector to say just A. Let me turn off Show Set. Now I'm going to change the font family of my link to PT Serif. So I've copied it from Chrome. I'm just going to paste it here. Hit Enter. And you notice that the text, the font changes. Next is the color. I'm going to set the color of my font to the same color that I have for the body text. In this case, that's what I want to do. So this changes my font color. And notice in my finished page, I actually have a different color of underline. This is not really an underline. It's a bottom border. So just like you can apply borders to paragraphs, to other page elements like divs, you can also apply a border to a particular passage of text, in this case, all my links. So I'm going to look up my settings here. So I have a bottom border 5 pixels solid and in this color. So I'm going to copy that color. The other thing is to remove the underline. I need to set text decoration to none, because by default all links in HTML have the underline decoration added to them. So I'm going to say no, I'm going to pass on that. So back in my page, I'm on the A tag. I go up to the text properties, set text decoration to none. That removes the underline. Go up to border, set a bottom border of 5 pixels solid at this color. And that's what my links look like. One more thing. You notice when my mouse hovers over the link, the text color and the underline color change. How do you do this? There's a special type of selector that you can add just for the hover state of your links, for when your mouse is hovering over the link. And this selector is called a:hover. So let's see what are the styles that I've applied. I've changed the color to this, and I've changed the bottom border color to this. So back in my work page, I'm going to add a new selector, and I'm going to type a:hover. This selector will only apply when the mouse hovers over the link. I turn off Show Set, go up to Text Properties, change my font color to this, and my border color to this. Now, I'm going to save all, and in Live View, I'm going to hover over my link to see what happens. And you can see that the text color and the underline color change when I hover over this. Perfect. Now I'm going to go back to the browser. This is what my link used to look like. I'm going to refresh the page. So my paragraph spacing, line spacing changed, and the look and feel of my link and the behavior of my link also changed. I have one more thing left to do, which is this part, this quote. Now earlier I had just selected that quote and set its property to italics from the properties inspector. Now using CSS I can say that all my text that is in italics should have this particular font. Actually first I'm going to copy the font value, go back to Dreamweaver. Now what's different about this? In your code view you can see that the italic part has a tag called EM applied to it. EM stands for emphasis, and that's a way of applying italics to text. I'm going to add a selector. It says section P EM. In this case I'm just going to remove section and P and just say EM. Go to text, font family, and then paste in the PT serif value. And there you have it. So I'm going to compare and see if there's anything else to do. Yes, there is one thing, the drop cap. So let me save this first and check if everything here looks okay. Yes, it does. So now the last thing to do is make the first letter of the first paragraph nice and big, to have a nice big drop cap to invite the eye, the reader's eye, to go there and start reading the page. So here's a trick. I'm going to go into my first paragraph. Now if you want to apply special styles to just one letter or a few letters or a few words in the middle of a paragraph or in the middle of a div, you can use the span tag. The span tag identifies or delimits a span of text, and then you can apply a class or an ID to that span and give it its own unique style. So just the letter D in the word during is going to get its own span, which will have its own class. So I put my cursor before the letter D and I type span class equals drop cap, and then just after the letter D I have to close the span. The moment I type the slash, Dreamweaver will close any tag that I had started. So now the letter D is inside a span of class drop cap. Okay, so I'm going to add a selector for the class drop cap. Dreamweaver is using a different selector here, so no worries. I'm just going to type dot, and then Dreamweaver shows me all the classes I'm using in my page, and there you have it, drop cap. So I'm just going to choose drop cap from there, hit enter, and I have a selector. Now what am I doing with my drop cap? For the letter D, I'm going to make it really big. I'm going to push it down, and I'm going to set it to float left. You remember in the layout tutorial, when you float something, it means that, for example, if you float left, it means that it's going to stick to the left side of its parent, in this case the paragraph, and then any text or content following it is going to sit to the right. So float is a way of laying things out side by side instead of one after another in successive lines. In this case, I want the D and the rest of this text to be side by side so that the D seamlessly fits into the paragraph. I also want to change the font of this drop cap. I'm going to get the Playfair display font, copy that, and in drop cap I'm going to start with the font. Here, font family, font size. I'm going to increase the font size so it's about 3 lines high. Now you notice if I just increase the font size, the character sits above the line, mostly above the line, because it tries to align the baseline of D with the baseline of the rest of this line. But what I want it to do is to sink down so that it's flush with the first 3 lines of text. To do this, I'm going to go back to layout and say float left. So you see what happens with float. Now the D and the rest of the text are kind of side by side, yet it sticks above the text a bit. So to push it down, I'm going to use padding. Now I'm going to show you a different way of setting padding. Instead of double clicking and typing the value, I'm going to click and drag on the number. You notice when I hover over the 0, I see a double-sided arrow appear, which means if I click and drag on this, I can actually change the value. Now notice on the left side what happens when I change the value. It actually interactively positions the letter for me. So by using a balance of the font size and the padding, I'm going to get this letter to be about 3 lines of text high and sitting flush with those lines. I'm also going to use some bottom padding so that it doesn't overlap with the 3rd line, but it creates some more space below. So now I'm also going to push it left just a little bit so that the left side of D lines up perfectly with the left edge of the paragraph. I'm going to do that by creating a negative margin on my left side. Just a few pixels will be enough. And finally, I'm going to change the font color of the D to the same font that I have for my byline. So I'm going to go to the byline, look up the font color, copy it, come back to drop cap, and apply by pasting that color. And there you have it. I have a nice looking drop cap now. I'm going to save all, go back to Chrome, go to my page. Notice without the drop cap, and now as I refresh, with the drop cap. So you see how the drop cap really serves to hold the reader's attention and really draw their attention to begin reading the paragraph. This has been used since the days of print, and now we can also apply it on the web. So these were some styles that I wanted to show you about typography in CSS. I believe I have some extra space here, so I'm going to see how to fix that. Yes, I do. This is my finished page where I brought these closer together. I think that was by changing the margin on the byline. So I'm going to go back to my demo page, check my byline. It has a top margin of 8 pixels. So I'll do the same here. Byline. In my finished page, I'd also set for my byline the line height to normal. So now my line height matches. That's perfect. I'm going to save all. See, I had some extra space over here, so I'm going to refresh and show you the change now. And that's better. So by applying these simple layout and typography styles, I've transformed the look and feel from what it was with the default heading, paragraph, and link styles in HTML to this, which makes it a breeze to read and it makes the page look much nicer. I ask you to use the same text so that it's easy for you to follow along. So I'm going to include a plain text file of this page, just the part of this article that I'm styling here, and I'm going to attach it with the assignment as plain text. So you can use the same text that way as you are styling, and you run into any questions or any issues, you can just compare against mine and see what's going on and how to apply the right styles to make it match. So use the text I've given you, go ahead and do the styles the way I've shown you, and most importantly, have fun with it.